Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I will look at the Galaxy Me collection that's available right now from Celestial Polish. This is available both on the Australian and US websites. I'll link those down below. These were sent to me for review, and I will have all of her social media and storefronts in the description box. These will retail for about $11 a piece, and I'll go ahead and get right into the swatch and review. So first up is doing the Nasty, and this is described as a black base scattered hollow producing a brown to green to gold to purple multichrome. I did get a lot of red tones in here, deep maroons, as well as some orange and a little bit of brown on the edges as well. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how doing the Nasty swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. These are very smooth, very easy to work with. They don't pull or run down the stem at all. They just go exactly where you put them. This one is a little bit sheer. You do, of course, have the option of layering these over black, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how it builds up with a second coat. I really don't think that's necessary. You get a ton of depth and beautiful shift in just two easy coats with these polishes across the board. So here's a look at that second coat. I did go a little bit thicker. I didn't have any issues with brush strokes or anything like that. These kind of level out really well on their own. They did dry down a little bit dull, so I definitely do recommend a nice glossy top coat. So here's a look at that completed mani at two coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. In the shade, you're going to get more of that beautiful multichrome shift, and then in the sun, you're going to get more of that holographic and metallic shift. So there's a view from another angle in direct sunlight. This is my swatch photo, again under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Lust in Space, and this is described as a light blue base scattered hollow producing a purple to green to gold multichrome. With this one, I got a lot of green undertones and a really bright pink shimmer. That's how it came across to me. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Lust in Space swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. I did go in a little bit thicker than I intended to with this first coat, but this does go on nice and smooth, just as easy as any of the other Celestial polishes. I was able to smooth that bead right out. One coat made for nice even coverage. It was a little bit sheer towards my nail tips, so I'll let that dry and then show you how it built up with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I am going in a little bit thicker here again, but that's just my preferred method of application. I totally don't think that you need to go that thick. You could do two nice normal coats and reach full opacity. The pink shimmer on this one is super strong. I'll go ahead and show you a look at that completed mani. So this is two coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. So you can see there it does pull maybe a very deep green or brown for me. Here's a view in a different angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. So that brings out all of that holographic glitter. This is my swatch photo underneath artificial lighting, and then finally at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Are You Mooning Me? And this is described as a green base scattered hollow that produces a brown to green to gold to purple multichrome. So I got a lot of that green undertones here with that deep red or maroon shimmer as well. Maybe that's some purple coming through. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Are You Mooning Me swatched on my natural nail. So here is a look at that first coat. This one goes on super smooth, a little bit sheer here, but definitely know that it's going to build up really quickly on itself. I did get a ton of those green undertones that make this one really beautiful. So I'll go ahead and complete this coat, cap the tip, let it dry, and then show you how it builds up with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. This one was really close to being nice and full coverage in one thicker coat, but two coats for sure brings it completely opaque. This one for some reason reminds me of like Poison Ivy. I think it's that red and green combination. Really gorgeous. It is a bit deep and vampy. I'll go ahead and show you that completed mani at two coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. So this one does dry down a little bit dull. A good glossy top coat though is going to help bring out all of that holographic. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a top coat, so you can see all of those glitters shining through. This is my swatch photo underneath artificial lighting, and then finally at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Why So Serious, and this one has me just on the name alone. This is described as a green base scattered hollow that produces a shimmery green with a soft gold duochrome effect. So this is more a duochrome than a multichrome. This also seems like it has larger flakies in the mix. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Why So Serious swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. This one goes on just as smooth and easy as the others, no problems at all. It was a little bit sheer here at one coat. You can see I have quite a bit of visible nail line going on. I'll go ahead and complete this coat, let it dry, and then show you how it built up with a second. So here's a look at that second coat. I am going to go in for a nice and normal coat here, and this does pull this one completely opaque for me. If you go super, super thin, you may need 3, but this one really has a nice coverage. So here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. This one feels very, very metallic on the nail. Here's a view from another angle in kind of overcast lighting. So you can see this almost pulls a little bit teal in the shade. Here's a look at that swatch photo underneath artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight because it decided to come out when it was time for photos. So next up is You Matter, and this is described as a green-based scattered hollow that produces a green to blue duochrome with a soft hint of pink. So that pink is going to be very, very sheer here, very subtle on the nail. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how You Matter swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one is really easy to work with. It was quite sheer here though at one coat. I would say that this is a teal that pulls more to the green side than the blue. Still very, very gorgeous. It has almost a lit from within type glow. I'll show you how it builds up with a second coat. So I am going to go in a little bit thicker here with the second coat, but it does bring this one completely opaque for me. Any brush strokes or anything like that mellow out on their own. It does a really good job at self-leveling as well, so no issues there. It does dry down a little bit matte though, so here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath the artificial lighting. Here's a view from another angle with a glossy top coat, but again under that overcast lighting. So this does a really good job at showing off that duochrome effect, but not so much the hollow that's there. So this is my swatch photo underneath the artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight, and there you can see more of that hollow glitter. So next up is Comet Me Bro, and this is my #1 top pick. This is described as a dark blue-based scattered holographic polish that produces a blue to aqua to purple multi-chrome effect. This one did pull very, very teal for me, and it has those larger flakies that are kind of really interesting. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Comet Me Bro swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. This one goes on super easy, no problems at all. It may be the sheerest of the collection though. I did have quite a bit of visible nail line here. I'll go ahead and complete this coat, cap the tip, and then show you how it builds up with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I did go in for just a nice normal coat here, and it does pull this one completely opaque. I love the finish of the larger flakes of glitter or shimmer here. I think it's really beautiful and interesting on the nail. So here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Even though this polish has some of those larger flakies, it doesn't create a texture so much at all. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. This is my swatch photo underneath that artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So next up is We Didn't Even Plan It, and this is described as a darker blue-based scattered holographic polish that produces a soft blue to aqua to purple multi-chrome. So this one is super gorgeous on the nails. It does very much look like a galaxy. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how We Didn't Even Plan It swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one is seriously incredibly pigmented. I am going to do a nice careful first coat here, but I did go maybe a little bit on the thinner side. Honestly, this is totally a 1-coat polish. I am going to go ahead and complete this coat and then show you how it builds up with a second coat. I did have maybe a low spot there towards my sidewall. I think if I had been maybe a touch more careful, this is totally a 1-coat polish. So this one does have a bit more of a metallic feel. I'm going to go ahead and show you how it builds up with a second coat. So there's a look at that second coat. I did go in a little bit thicker here, completely unnecessarily, but that's just my polishing method. I did maybe have to be a little bit careful with brush strokes with this one. It does have a bit more of that metallic feel, but here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. This one is very deep, very vampy, very beautiful. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a top coat. This is my swatch photo underneath artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in that direct sunlight. So lastly today I have It's Just a Phase, and this is described as a blue-based scattered holographic polish that produces a blue to purple duochrome. So this is more, again, of a duochrome than a multichrome. It did pull very blue for me as well. I'll go ahead and show you a quick brush shot, and I'll show you how It's Just a Phase swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one is very much like the last one I just reviewed. It is a little bit more metallic, very pigmented, and also goes on super easy and smooth in one coat. Here I am just doing a one careful easy coat, and this is completely opaque. If you're into stamping, I think these are both going to be absolutely lovely for that. So here's a look at that completed mani at just one coat underneath my artificial lighting before a glossy top coat. Here's a view from another angle in a direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. So this one is very much like a galaxy as well. This is my swatch photo underneath artificial lighting, and then lastly at an angle again in that direct sunlight. So that does wrap up my swatch and review of the Galaxy and Me collection. Again, these are available right now, and I have her storefronts and social media listed down below. In terms of multi or duochromes, these are maybe a little bit more on the subtle side, so if you're super interested in this finish but you kind of want something a little bit more wearable, I think these are going to be perfect for that. If you'd like to see more photos, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.